What's going on, everybody? It is corner to corner time right here on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network, ProWrestlingRadio.net, and all points in between. Welcome. Hope everybody's having a great weekend. Of course, the triple threat is in the hizzy. I'm Stan Grubb, and my tag team partners, of course, Rob Hefner.
What's happening?
That was a little scary. And Brian Taylor.
Hi.
Oh, so Eeyore is joining us this evening. Hello, Eeyore.
Not that it matters anyway.
We got a big night for you tonight. We've got UCW Television Champion Ethan Cross will be joining us tonight. And one half of the main event to crown the World Heavyweight Champion for Ultimate Championship Wrestling, the Juggernaut, will be joining us as well. So we got a lot to talk about in a short time to get there, or something like that. Long way to go, short time to get there.
You're going to be eastbound and down, too?
Yes. I don't know this song. It's trying, and it's not working. But that's okay.
And as always, we're joined on, what is it, the T's and L's, or the P's and Q's, or... Eddie! What's up, Eddie?
Not much. It's eastbound and down, loaded up in trucking. We gonna do what they say can't be done.
That's Sienna.
It's a long time to get there.
Long way to go and a short time to get there. Eastbound, just watch old Bandit run.
Amen, brother. Now, Stan, bonus points for if you can tell me who sang that song.
Jerry Lee Lewis.
That wasn't Stan. That was Brian.
That was wrong anyway, wasn't it?
I know.
Yeah.
I got no idea.
Jerry Reed.
That's it.
Who's that guy?
He played Snowman in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Rob, I'll give you bonus points if you tell me the full name
Of what?
of Snowman.
Oh, his character's name?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Abominable?
Nice.
Oh, smack.
Because then he comes back in what? Bandit 3 and
Bandit.
plays the bandit?
Yeah, I've never seen that movie in its entirety. I can't go more than 7 minutes without throwing up, therefore I've never watched it.
Yeah, it's kind of like Police Academy 8 Mission in Moscow.
Pretty much. or Pastime in Pascagoula or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
With all due respect to my friends over in Mississippi, and there are a few, or there are many, or a few that actually listen now after I've screwed that up.
There are legion, they are many. No, that's not how that goes.
We are legion.
Whatever.
Damn it.
We are legion. We are one. You should have expected us. Oh, wait. Wrong show.
What?
Anyway,
Yeah.
we've got Ethan Cross on the show tonight.
Back on the tracks. Let's
We've
get that
got
train rolling.
UCW Television Champion Ethan Cross in the house, defending his title at UCW Defiance, coming up on September 23rd in
The Michael and Sons Sportsplex, Sterling, Virginia, formerly known as the Dulles Sportsplex.
Dun, dun, dun.
Going to be a pretty exciting night, and it's all about UCW planting roots and growing bigger than what we could ever imagine. And we get to be right there live. What? We can't tell them yet?
No.
What do you mean, no?
No.
Papers have not been signed. The
Fans,
lawyers
I'm
have
trying.
not
I'm
talked.
trying for you to give you the latest and greatest. We can't do it yet?
No.
But they want to know.
No.
Or I want to put it out there because I want to look good. Wait, I said that out loud.
You can't look good.
Awkward.
You can look good if Michelangelo painted you.
That's not nice. Fine.
Sorry, you couldn't look good if Stacy Keebler was on your arm.
I don't care how I look if she's on my arm. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying watch them legs.
So,
Oh, yeah.
this week in wrestling, getting Stan back on track, and who would have thought that it would be Rob trying to get the train back on track?
Yeah, no kidding.
Rob playing the role of train conductor.
Usually I'm the one moving it off the tracks.
So, all right, this may or may not come as a surprise to anybody. Breaking news. I can't believe I'm going to say it. It just sounds shocking to me.
What are you breaking?
Shocking
Not breaking news.
About who?
Global Force Wrestling.
Oh, okay.
So in the news, Global Force Wrestling, apparently their future is, can you believe it, in doubt. Jeff Jarrett taking a indefinite leave of absence. Yeah, that's my girl. Look, I'm sorry, I'm a little distracted by the iPad. It's okay. Jeff Jarrett taking a leave of absence indefinitely. We do not know the details of this leave of absence. We really don't even know what caused it. What we do know is multiple news sources have been putting it out there that the future for Global Force is definitely in doubt. Rob, what's your take here?
I think the reason he's gone is they no longer can pay him. That's my thought.
What do you suppose Jeff Jarrett makes for Global Force? What was his salary, you think?
Well, you got to think. If he's the president, founder, and CEO. So he is, what, CEO and she is COO?
Oh, you're talking about Karen Jarrett.
No, she's CE Blow.
Oh,
I was just going to say gold digger,
man.
but
Damn.
I just thought, But anyway, back on the tracks.
Don't want to pay any attention to her. We'll just keep going with Global Force.
Okay,
Apparently other people are.
gentlemen, do me a favor. I have to ask this question. Are you referring to the blog that was posted on SI.com by the person who did not even cite his sources?
Well, wait a moment. That was something that was speculated greatly on the intranets this week. Apparently, Ed Nordum, gentleman from Anthem, one of the guys in charge, took to Twitter to go after Sports Illustrated for the report. Their sightings was that they had spoken to those inside the actual company. But to Eddie's credit, he points out a good point. He would not cite his complete source. But, I mean, how many inside tracks do you get where they say, oh, well, Bob at accounting told me that they don't have anything going on? I mean, I don't know that he's really in a position where he could really give his source out until, I guess, after the doors close.
Okay. Then do me a favor and let me follow up with this, because another website posted an article on September the 9th, and they are sourcing out a website that I will not mention. Why? Because I don't want to. But it's out there, trust me. It's over at WrestlingNewsSource.com. An interview was held recently, or a spokes comment was held with Ed Nordholm very recently, to where Nordholm was asked about the recent rumors that Anthem is looking to sell GFW. Nordholm responded with the following, quote, "We're invested in this company. We're growing it. We know it's not going to turn around tomorrow," end quote.
Tomorrow, next week, next year, 6 years from now, maybe even 15 years from now. I mean, they can't get past 300,000 viewers. How do they expect, and this is the other part of the news, Global Force Wrestling apparently is going to start essentially their own streaming network.
Good.
Except if they can't get 200,000 viewers on TV where it's free, how are they going to get 200,000 or more to pay, we'll just say $9.99 because it seems to be the price.
To play the devil's advocate here, half the problem is the channel it's on. How many people get Pop TV. Network, Pop TV, or whatever, Popcorn?
The former TV Guide channel has gotten decent penetration. Unfortunately, it's just that impacted and drawing the viewers.
Can you say penetration on Beyond Ringside?
Yes, I can.
He did.
I guess
he's the boss. He can sell every damn thing he wants.
That's right.
I'll fire myself later.
All right, well, just do it in private.
Whatever you
so
do,
no one hears you cry.
keep it between yourself. No.
I mean, the thing is, it's ambitious to do the network, to take on an online atmosphere, which they're really last in that category, but they could easily turn it around and make it a positive. But we're still talking about how to get this company into the green or into the black, and how do they turn a profit in this. One, if you're showing your old, so let's say you go ahead and you show old episodes of Impact, old pay-per-views, and all you're seeing is Bobby Roode, AJ Styles, Sanjay Dutt, Triple X, America's Most Wanted. You start showing all these guys that used to be there and used to be prominently featured. Samoa Joe, Kurt Angle, Sting, Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, I mean, the list goes on and on. How do you recapture that excitement heading into what would be your next pay-per-view that I would imagine they would stream live, every month or every few months, however they decide to do it?
Well, I don't watch it, so I'm out. Rob?
I watched one episode.
Our official correspondent has said.
I admit to watching one episode. Brian watches it every week.
I don't watch that crap.
I think one of the biggest things is they need to they need to stop trying to be what they're not. If that makes sense. Ring of Honor, Ring of Honor has their niche. Right? Mm-hmm. They have their niche. Lucha Underground has their niche. That's where they are. They're not trying to expand. They're not trying to compete. They're just doing their thing and very profitable and successful. Mm-hmm. I think Global Force, Impact, fill in blank here, wrestling promotion, whatever you want to call it, is still reeling from trying to compete with the WWE. And I think to compete at that scale takes a huge pocketbook. Because just like we learned in the Monday Night Wars, like we all talked about the last show towards the end, was this, anytime one company spent money, the other company threw money at it too. Mm-hmm. And that was one of the problems, when the purse strings were starting to get cut for different companies. The play wasn't there. Well, GFW is trying to do what they can, but I just think it's a little bit too little, too late kind of thing, in my opinion. I tuned in just because Jim Cornette was on there, and I wanted to see what he was going to do. And when he started that whole with Eli Drake, hey, if you win... If the team of EC3 wins, they get a shot at the title.
Right.
If you win, you don't have to defend the title. What?
Yeah, and then you end up finding out that not only would there possibly be a chance that he would not have to defend the title, which goes the opposite direction of what you want, a title match or even a heel turn or whatever. But not only do you not get that, but you don't even really get an opportunity to see who's supposed to be the face of your company in anything but, a role on the sideline. So it's disappointing. It's not to say that they can't do it. It seems more like they won't do it. They just don't seem like they can get out of their own way. They could get out of their own way, 4 or 5 years ago. They still can't now.
I mean, it's all angle. It's all storyline. And we make the same complaints about the WWE.
Right.
Is the storylines, again, on Monday, you had Roman Reigns and John Cena in the ring. Mm-hmm. Open mic, pipe bomb type promo. And only thing Roman Reigns could be like, your mama. John Cena sat there and ripped him a new one for 15 minutes. And all he came back was like the old thing in the schoolyard where somebody just schooled you and you're like, I know you are, but what am I?
You're a nerd.
So.
Well, I think TNA would be, Global Force would be happy to get that kind of a reaction. To get people talking that much, to create that kind of buzz. Because that's one of the things that they haven't been able to generate at a high level. I mean, just imagine if Global Force could do a pay-per-view and it was legitimately trending worldwide, like throughout the United States, rather than when they say that they're trending and it's only like in a central town in Florida or Tennessee or wherever they're doing their show.
Well, I would also argue that one of the problems is they don't travel. The only people that really see Global Force are the ones that are at Universal Studios. Mm-hmm. Granted, traveling, I know back when WCW was having their issues in the beginning, mm-hmm. Eric Bischoff stopped traveling.
Right.
Because of the expense. Well, to me, that's only so many people are seeing your promotion.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah,
know?
I agree.
And one of the things that made Global Force's name and kept it there was they were traveling and using different promotions.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it came from cost management, like you were saying. I mean, Bischoff took them off the road in an attempt to keep them, just to keep them under wraps and to keep them controlled. But at the same time, when Global Force stopped touring, they didn't really stop touring. They went to less baseball stadiums. You know, they brought in, instead of 150, but then they made sure that they were somehow on the back end getting money, whereas TNA used to just give tickets out for free, which is another failed idea because you give enough tickets out for free, nobody's going to buy them because they just know you're going to give them away. And that's one of the reasons they couldn't draw when they were out touring.
Well, and if you're going to have a streaming network and you're going to charge people to see it, one, I can see it for free on Pop.
Right.
Or I can come to the park and pay admission and see it for free.
Right.
So, but anyway, I think we need to move on.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those disappointing
Just
things
like
that we're...
the public has.
It's one of those disappointing things. We see what happens around Impact and around wrestling in general, and it's not that we don't want to see another company be successful. It's quite the opposite. We want to see them be successful. But, again, they just can't seem to get it together, whether it's a plan, a major star that hasn't already burned bridges elsewhere, or, you know, a combination of all of that. So hopefully Impact can get it together, and maybe we'll see something positive in the news from Global Force for once.
Well, I mean, I think in any shakeup, people tune in to see what's going to be different, what's going to be new. How are they going to make this Global Force?
Right.
And when all your storylines are the same storylines that nobody tuned in to see on TNA, you just have GFW in front of it.
Right.
Who cares?
Well, and Eddie has sent us over a message here through the chat. It's a great point. Global Force doesn't advertise. So when WWE goes to a city, they'll send stars out to the radio stations to do 15, 20-minute interviews, talk about the show for Raw, whatever they're taping, or the pay-per-view. They'll send out people to do signings at cell phone stores or whatever. Global Force doesn't do that, and to my knowledge, they haven't done that since they took over. TNA used to do, if you remember for the Charlottesville show, they did autograph signings, pictures in the ring and everything.
Well, you bought a program, you got Kurt Angle's autograph and Jeff Jarrett's autograph. And then at the end, the stars came out and everybody autographed things. And
so, I mean, if there was something, I don't know, a signing at a local, whatever, gas station, radio station, cell phone store, I mean, you name it, wherever they get people to go to before the show, you know, a few days in advance, start to build a feel in the public, I think that could help them.
Well, when your shows are at Universal Studios.
Right. They need to get out and to do other places. Like, you're right. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Eli Drake.
You know, are you going to sit there and say, all right, you got to come see the show? I just paid $60 to get in this half of Harry Potter.
That guy sounds jaded.
Well, I mean,
Global Force hurt him.
Well, deep down in places we don't like to talk about, I think Global Force or Impact disappointed a lot of wrestling fans. I think we all had high hopes after seeing, like, the cage match with Triple X and America's Most Wanted, or seeing Samoa Joe and Kurt Angle. All of these ideas that could have worked out. So, while, I mean, he does kind of come off a little jaded. But at the same time, we really could see an opportunity there for growth if they were able to recapture some of that, some of that zest that they had back in the day. But let's move on, because we've got to get ready to bring on the television champion for Ultimate Championship Wrestling. He's going to be defending his title on the 23rd, and we're going to be bringing him on in just a few moments. Ethan Cross will be joining us in just a minute or two. We're going to take our first break of the evening. When we come back, we will be joined by Ethan Cross. Stick with us right here on BeyondRingside.com.
You mean the one you rooted against?
I did not.
Mr. Green.
Apparently it didn't work out for him now, did it?
Don't you think I'm going to say that when Ethan gets on here?
Of course you will. I expect nothing less.
Oh, yeah. He going to whoop you.
So we'll be right back.
Do we need to play the playback to see exactly who rooted for Ethan Cross? Because I think both of ya voted for Mr. Grimm.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Kill his mic.
Cut it. Cut the music.
Change y'all's name to Benedict.
Howdy, friends. This is the Magic City Motormouth, Fast Eddie Lane, with your invitation to join yours truly, along with Mark Mabo Bowman and the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis, every Sunday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 3:30 p.m. Pacific, for Beyond Ringside Live. Wrestling, mixed martial arts, sports talk, and a whole lot more. Keep your eyes open on BeyondRingside.com for all of upcoming show information, and of course, catch us on social media as well. Until then, we'll see you this Sunday, 6:30 Eastern, for Beyond Ringside Live on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network.
Sunday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern here on BeyondRingside.com. Join us for the Midnight Black Mass. Myself, the Reverend Dan Wilson, brings you the dark gospel of professional wrestling, uncensored, unedited, uncut, and not for the faint of heart. You can find out more about us at youtube.com/pottyhumor or subscribe at Potty Humor on iTunes and Stitcher today.
The To Be Determined show live Wednesday nights, 9 Central Standard Time. Join myself, the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis, the Grand Design, Clive Braddock, and the Magic City Motormouth, Fast Eddie Lane, as we take you to the edge of uncensored. Yes, we go uncensored, so make sure you have your earmuffs. Ask your parents, for those of you that are a little young, maybe under 18, but make sure if you have any heart conditions or any mental defects, please listen, because they may take effect right here live every Wednesday night, 9 Central Standard Time. Beyond Ringside Radio Network, BeyondRingside.com.
What's up, everybody? It's Stan Grubb for Corner to Corner Wrestling Radio and the Beyond Ringside Radio Network. Hey, join us every Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as the triple threat of wrestling radio goes live every week, giving you their thoughts and opinions on the world of professional wrestling. Myself, Brian, and Rob, all live, all here for you. And as my good friend Rob would say, from corner to corner and pillar to post, we bring it to you every week at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. BeyondRingside.com and ProWrestlingRadio.net. Welcome back, everybody, to Corner Wrestling Radio, right here on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network. It's myself, Stan Grubb, Brian Taylor, Rob Hefner. The Triple Threat is in the house. We are joined this evening by almost messed that up, the Ultimate Championship Wrestling Television Champion, Ethan Cross. What is going on, Mr. Cross? How are you tonight, sir?
Oh, I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
We're doing great. So, hey, congratulations, first and foremost, for becoming the first ever UCW television champion.
Well, thank you.
And not to make it awkward right off the bat, but I will say that Stan was pulling for Mr. Grimm.
Oh, wow. Really?
Wow.
I'm pulling for Ethan Cross.
Thank you. Appreciate it for being on my side.
Hey, I go with the winner. I knew you had it from the start.
I mean, I don't want to see rooting for or against anybody. I like to think we were impartial spectators of a spectacular event, whereas Rob just wants to put a big old bus over top of our backs. But that's okay. We're going to let him do that.
I didn't mention Brian.
Did that go strictly over me? That's great. Thanks, guys. So, Ethan, I had a chance to talk to you a little bit earlier today through some messages, and honestly, when I kind of got a little bit more familiar with your story and your coming up, I mean, it's amazing to me. Let's just bring it to proper perspective. let's go ahead and have you tell the fans, how did you get started in professional wrestling?
Well, I got started in professional wrestling. As most people don't know, that I was incarcerated for 13 straight years. So from 1995, I got out in 2008, and I have a wonderful best friend who I worry to death, and actually there's like 4 things I want to try to do. First, I tried out for NFL walk-on tryouts. They told me to come back next year. And then I worry her to death again about wrestling. And then I end up finding a company called GXW.
Now, for those in the listening area, GXW, you're probably familiar, Ground Zero Wrestling out of Richmond, Virginia. Now, you made the decision at kind of a later point. How? And we don't normally ask these kinds of questions, but how old are you, sir?
I am 44.
44. That's amazing. So I asked you earlier, and you've been in the industry for how long?
7 years.
7 years. So at 37 years old, you're coming out of the biggest challenge of your life, and you're making a change for the better. But how did you decide you were going to put your body through this at 37?
Man, I used to watch it all the time when I was little. And then when I was in incarceration, I watched it on every Monday night. And about a year before I got released, I decided to say, hey, I was want to try something like that to change over my old habits.
And I imagine that was just a testament to your own confidence in yourself. But your support system had to have been remarkable just to make sure they were there to how to help guide you. Did you reach out to anybody specifically that kind of put you under their wing?
Far as like, I have a best friend I've known for over 27 years, so she was supportive whether I was doing wrong or doing right. I worried her to death about finding a wrestling company. I had models of it, like Ric Flair, people like that. But it was something I wanted to get into.
Now, initially, are you from the Richmond area initially, or from?
Yes, born and raised in Richmond. Yes.
Oh wow! So I mean, it's amazing to me. You've got yourself in this position where you're coming out, and you've got to find a way to turn a negative into a positive. What?
Yep.
And I imagine you have this question asked a lot of you because it's a remarkable story to me. How did you come to the decision that you were going to do? What made you turn it around? I mean, what was it? Was it just what you saw, what you witnessed, or just a conscious decision to be different?
What I saw, how other people was acting, and I just sat back and be quiet and just watch. And then I said to myself, do I want to do the same thing or what they did, or I want to change? So I decided I chose to change because I didn't like that lifestyle.
I got to say, on behalf of myself, Rob, and Brian, that, man, we salute the hell out of it. That's amazing. To be able to turn your life full circle around and go to a positive direction. And there's not a lot of people that can do that. There's not a lot of people that are able to turn their lives around in general, but make such a drastic change. That's phenomenal.
Thank you.
You're quite welcome. So, Ground Zero Wrestling. You get in, you decide you're going to train. The guys down at Ground Zero, they put you through the paces. That first day when you're going through squats and you're doing everything to keep yourself noticeable and marketable for them, was it immediate? You were just, I'm in it to win it here, or did you have doubts?
Oh, no. In the beginning, I had doubts because I never did any type of sports when I went to school. So,
Okay.
I don't know if this is exactly for me, but then I made a decision of my own, and I was like, you know what? I don't care if it takes me 20 years to get to do this. This is what I want to do, so I stuck with it.
Now, a lot of people, when they first get in the business, their eyes are filled with dreams of grandeur. They're going to be a millionaire. They're going to be in WWE from day one. I mean, how did you set your plan? How did you set your goals? Was it measurable each step of the way, or did you just say, I'm going to shoot for the stars?
Honestly, when I decided that I was going to stick with it and didn't back down and just stop, I decided to go big. And the reason why I decided to go big because when I ended up at a seminar, I also was told at a seminar is because of my age, it's kind of hard for me to actually push for WWE. So that there alone decided for me, you know what, that's what I'm gonna go for. Since it's hard for me to go, I'm going for it.
And you've definitely been running at breakneck speed. I mean, you have 7 years in the industry is not a long time. There are guys that wrestle for 15 to 20 years before they finally get a look. You, on the other hand, you were actually at the door for WWE.
Yes, I was. I was at the door. I was on their website when I entered the Tough Enough, and I was in the same category that some of the Tough Enough people were entered in. And I was like, oh man, they in the same category I am. Hopefully I get it. And then when I got the email saying that I wasn't accepted, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to try again. Find another way to try to make it.
And you've definitely been doing that. I mean, when we look at your body of work right now, I mean, Ground Zero was where you cut your teeth. Now you're in Ultimate Championship Wrestling. After the first UCW card in over 15 years, you become their very first television champion, overcoming a big obstacle in Mr. Grimm. I mean, how did it feel to stand across the ring from that guy?
Oh man, it felt awesome for a new company coming in with me for them actually, the promoters and everybody who had a hand in UCW to actually say, hey, this is you. This is putting everything in your hands. It's an awesome feeling.
It's an indicator of faith that they had in your ability in the ring, and it showed because both you and Mr. Grimm had a hell of a match. And, Rob may have pointed it out, but when we saw the matchup unfold on paper, I mean, I'm not afraid to admit that I learned about you from Ultimate Championship Wrestling. That was my first opportunity to see you perform, and you sold me. And obviously you had Rob sold from the start.
That's right.
He knows a good judge. He's a good judge of talent. I can't take that away from him.
Thank you.
How many times do you run into it, though, where people maybe sell you short and don't know what they're looking at when they really see it before you're in the ring?
It's a lot of times, but I don't let that discourage me. Like, a lot of people don't really know how old I am, so when I tell them, they're like, wow, we thought you at least like 28, 29, or in your early 30s.
Mm-hmm. Well, you don't move like a guy that's 44. I mean, that's a definite. You are in phenomenal shape. How do you train? How do you keep yourself in such good shape?
Stay away from junk food.
I'm out.
Right away, I lose. Yep, I'm done.
Yeah. Most people, they go to the gym. I go to the gym. I work out at my house, at home. I do calisthenics, like push-ups, sit-ups, and stuff like that. I stay in the ring a lot when I go practice in New Jersey at Monster Factory. So I just want to stay on top of what I'm doing.
Now, coming up, who were your favorites? Who were the guys you wanted to be like?
Oh, man. For one, people like Chavo, Eddie Guerrero, because they were my height. And they was phenomenal in what they do. So when I watch a lot of tapes about them, I'm like, you know what? I don't want to be exactly like them. I want to perform like they do, you know?
Do you think from your perspective that wrestlers today are afraid to actually be a bad guy?
Oh, yes. Most definitely. Yes. I think so.
Now, go ahead.
Do you think it's more of a hesitation from truly getting like a negative reaction from fans because they want to be loved so much? I mean, it sounds kind of crazy, but there's so many guys out there in today's industry that they just don't seem to really want to take that next step to really be to make somebody dislike them.
Yeah. It all depends on the individual. I come across a few who like in their late 20s and they wrestle and they say basically the same thing. Like, you know, I want to be the bad guy, but hey, I don't want to do this because at the end of the day, I don't want any negativity. I want people to like me. But I always tell them, hey, it's a business. It's like a job. You have to do your job. And then it comes to the point that long you stay in the business and what works for you, it works, you know. With me, I don't mind being a bad guy. I don't care.
A couple weeks ago, we talked to Humphrey DuPont, and he was very upset that he did not have the opportunity to be at ringside for you. What did you feel like when that happened, when he wasn't able to be there for you?
Yeah, I was disappointed, but you know what? I said to myself that I'm going to make him proud, you know, whether he's there or not, whatever circumstances that came up that prevented him from being there. I was going to make him proud, and I did.
You definitely did. I mean, you were a standout. I think when we did the review at the end of the night, it was match of the night went to you and Mr. Grimm with a strong, solid follow-up with the Noise Pollution versus Outlaw Inc. We were really impressed by both matchups.
Well, thank you. Glad you enjoyed it.
So, Eddie, what do you got over there, buddy?
Actually, I want to do a double take on something real quick. I want to go back a question. We have a number of shows here on the network, and one of the phrases that we have bandied about over the last few years, and for me personally, having worked around this industry as long as I have, thank you, God, short version being, a lot of kids in this era are afraid to be the heel because they want to be the cool heel who also can sell merch at the drop of a hat. Do you think that possibility of the dollar sign is also one of the reasons why some people are afraid to genuinely be the bad guy in this industry?
Well, yeah, they all want to be loved, but it comes to a point where it's not so about money all the time, you know? You got to do, it's like a job. You got to do what you got. And if you want to be hated, it pays off at the end. It comes to you do what you have to do. They still young, so eventually they'll get it. As long as they stay with it, they'll get it. And then they'll realize, hey, you know, I can do this by being this. I don't have to be the cool person to do it, you know?
And the other one I wanted to toss to you real quick. The big moment occurs. What is your dream car for making an entrance down to the ring?
My dream car is to make it in WWE. That's what I'm pushing for. My second dream is to wrestle until I'm 75 years old.
I think I missed a word in there. Now, if you were able to drive a car down to the ring for your entrance, what would be your dream car to make that entrance?
Oh, man. Okay. My dream car entrance.
You know, muscle car fan, maybe more of a like a Lamborghini exotic. I mean, what do you like?
I like Cadillacs. I'm more of a old school type car person.
There you go.
That's much more luxury, much more stylish. You get to relax a little bit on the way.
Yep.
Now, being the UCW television champion, it's got to be exciting that coming up on September 23rd at Defiance, you're going to be defending that title on TV. First time ever. How does that feel?
Oh, awesome. It feel awesome that I have a bullseye, so people going to come after me. The guy that I'm wrestling, and then defending called Hiromoto. So it's going to be another good one. At the end, like I say, I'm going to win. I know I am, so I'm giving it all.
There we go. I know the guys from Corner to Corner will be there rooting you on. Stan will root you on this time, won't you?
Of course I will.
Now,
well, thank you, Stan.
I don't know where all of a sudden, you know, I'm supposedly not your fan, but, you know, hey, I think you've got tremendous...
I never said you weren't, but...
You just did. You just put me, like, under that bus again. You just jumped over and then pulled forward again.
Well, I think by the end of the match, I was with Mr. Cross.
Oh, by
the end of the match, he sold me. Yeah.
Okay.
Listen.
Go back. Yeah. Okay.
But Mr. Cross, until September 23rd, do you have any shows lined up? Where can people find you?
They can always find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Usually when I get booked for shows, they holler at me at my email, which is ethancross41@gmail.com. That's where I get all my bookings through. I got a show coming up September the 23rd. Also, I'm at Monster Factory in New Jersey, October the 13th and 14th. October the 8th, I'm back in West Virginia.
Ooh, where in West Virginia are you going to be?
In Glensdale, West Virginia.
Very nice, very nice.
So you definitely are keeping yourself busy with Hiro Matsumoto. Excuse me if I mispronounced that. Do you have a plan in place? What's your plan of attack?
Beat him.
My plan of attack, just straight up beating him straight down. As always. But it's not going to be easy, so I already know that. It's never easy.
You seem to be comfortable in the position that people maybe they look past you for whatever reason it is. But you seem to take full advantage. There's nothing wrong with that.
Oh yeah, always.
But this time you will actually have your manager in your corner, correct?
Oh yes, indeed I will. He'll be there in September the 23rd.
Let me ask you something. Is there any truth to the rumor that your manager had anything to do with the assault on Outlaw Inc.?
No. Have no recollection of it.
Wow. Okay. I can see that this is going to go any further with that line of questioning. I had to ask. That's what it was do.
And when we talked to Mr. DuPont, we were discussing a bounty for Stan. So if you wanted to cash in on that on the 23rd,
nobody needs to cash.
You just let me know.
Come on.
He's sticking his nose in Mr. DuPont's business, and he should probably back out.
I mean, he did.
Oh yeah.
With noise pollution, he wanted to, have a few moments.
I think you're writing checks, Stan.
Right. Right checks.
And he's got a nice, big, cushy upper torso that if you want to chop it...
Why are you checking out my upper
Hopefully
torso?
we'll get a chance to interview you before the match down there at the 23rd, and you can meet old Stan.
They're setting
you up, Stan.
That'd be awesome.
So, Stan, do me a favor. What is your preference right now, flathead or Phillips head?
Oh, you mean because I'm getting screwed?
Pretty much.
This day, it's kind of like an electronic screwdriver.
Wow.
Nuts and bolts.
I'm sorry you have to put up with this. You don't deserve numbskulls picking on you. Making fun of me.
Picking on you?
It's not right.
Oh, wait a minute.
I never on the TV and kick my... Now the bald guy sitting across the table,
damn.
Open game.
This is all just somebody lining up something. You don't have to worry about that. I will be firmly planted in your corner, sir. Don't worry.
Mr. Cross, how did you get started with Monster Factory?
How I get started with Monster Factory? I went on Facebook and a lot of websites, and it was like one of the opportunities to actually get my foot in the door of WWE. So it took me 2 years to open that door to actually get into Monster Factory. Mm-hmm. So when he finally said, hey, you come up to a seminar and we see what you got, and then when I showed him what I have, he was shocked, and then he was even more shocked when I told him my backstory and how old I was, and I've been going there ever since.
And that's Danny Cage up at the Monster Factory. Yep.
Yes, sir.
Right.
One thing that impresses me is not that how you do what you do, how you do it, but it's not that age is the first thing people think about. I think character, your wrestling ability, and then they find out, wow.
Yeah.
Right.
So to you, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, a lot of them like that. A lot of them see what I know how to do, and then when they find out, they're like, say what? I like, yeah, I wish I was wailing, but I'm not.
I mean, I did a double take when you told me. You sent me that message, and I said, wait a minute. I thought to myself, that can't be right. But sure enough, I mean, just watching you perform in the ring, I would have had no idea at all that you were the age that you are. And it's not an obstacle for you. If anything, it's a benefit.
Yeah.
So experience definitely serves your needs quite well as you head into September 23rd, taking on Hero Moreno with your manager in your corner, Humphrey DuPont. Limit for Mr. Ethan Cross.
All right. Thank you. Yep.
Mr. Cross, thank you again for joining us tonight. Really definitely appreciate that. We look forward to seeing you on the 23rd. Definitely we will sit down and have another few moments to talk. Hopefully, you won't remember the things that Rob has said. But
Thank you for having me. It's been an honor and privilege.
Well, thank you so much for coming on our show, and you're welcome back anytime.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
So, real quick, before we go ahead and turn you loose for the evening, sir, where can folks find you on Twitter? Is it just Ethan Cross?
Ethan Cross 41.
Right. Ethan Cross 41 on Twitter. I believe you're just listed as Ethan Cross on Facebook. Are you Ethan Cross 41 on Instagram as well?
I believe so.
All right. Well, folks, there you have it. Ultimate Championship Wrestling television champion, Ethan Cross. Ethan, good luck on the 23rd. Can't wait to see you, and we'll sit down and talk again then.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Thank
you. Uh-huh.
Have a great day. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The television champion for Ultimate Championship Wrestling, Mr. Ethan Cross. Wow. Guys, I look forward to the 23rd. Not so sure how I feel about this whole bounty thing, but...
Oh, wait. I mean, we may still have Juggernaut on, and we'll ask him the same question.
Why
Is there
we
a
have to bring Juggernaut into it?
Hey,
folks,
if
we're going to go
there's-
ahead and our top of the hour break real
Stan?
quick here.
Stan,
You can't run away.
Yes,
Rob,
Edward.
Brian, how much is the bounty?
Yes.
How much is the bounty on Stan's head?
Well, if it's not cashed in on the 23rd, then when we head down to Phoenix City, it'll probably grow.
I was about to say, I got 49 cents I can kick in, dude.
I mean, you got to think of bounty in comparison to the person that is being bountied. So now it's about $1.50.
Ouch.
Well, like I said, I got an extra 49 cents we'll kick in, so we'll make it an extra $1.99.
Bam!
Damn.
$1.99 and a cheeseburger.
Take us out.
Folks, we'll be right back here on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network. Stick with us right here at the corner. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Corner Wrestling Radio, right here on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network. We're live right now on BeyondRingside.com and, of course, ProWrestlingRadio.net. You'll be able to catch up with our on-demand episodes through Spreaker.com and iTunes. And then, of course, you can download those, share them with your friends, tell everybody about it. I'm excited for our next guest. We had a great time talking with the TV champion. Now we could be speaking to the UCW champion, the next UCW champion. We're joined by one half of the main event, Juggernaut. What's going on, Juggernaut? How are you tonight?
I'm very well. How we doing?
Doing good, doing good. So, man, you have got a big night on your hands, September 23rd. You get to stand opposite Bill Collier for the UCW World Championship. Tell us a little bit about what are your thoughts heading into this major main event?
I'm definitely excited and humbled for the opportunity. UCW management putting me in a position. I've been following Bill Collier around the indie scene for like a while. You know, he and his tag team partner, the Hired Guns. So I'm really excited. It should be fun. I've been training very, very, very hard for such a huge opportunity, and hopefully we'll go in there on the 23rd and walk out with some gold around our waist.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched and seen that you, matter of fact, the promo that you sent out in reference to the main event, you were fresh from the gym, and dude, you looked like you were, you didn't really need to lift any weights. You could probably lift the building. Good Lord.
Well, I mean, if you're not going to do anything at 120%, then why do it at all? And with such a major opportunity being put on my shoulders, I have to train like I've never trained before. I'm going to have to go in and literally have the match of my life, and that's exactly what I plan to do.
And it's definitely going to be a challenge. I mean, Bill Collier is a seasoned veteran of the industry. I think a lot of people are looking at this as an opportunity for both of you, but really for you to make a statement for Ultimate Championship Wrestling, one, being the face of the company potentially as they start a historic return, going to television, doing tapings, and really getting an opportunity to grow in a pretty quick fashion. So there's that, but at the same time, I mean, how long have you been in the industry overall?
I'm going into year number 3 in the industry. So, you know, it's like I said before, I'm going to have the match of my career to date. And that's exactly what I'm attempting. I'm going to go in and attempt to do. Take a seasoned vet, push him to his absolute limit, and you know, when the opportunity presents itself, I'll be prepared and make that statement to not only UCW but the rest of the wrestling world.
Now, when I talked to you earlier this evening, you were telling me a little bit about some things you do outside the ring. You said that you were actually doing some public speaking, some motivational speaking. Tell us a little bit about your efforts with that. That sounded very interesting.
Well, I think that like a major part of anything, no matter what your career choice is giving back. Obviously, me being like a minority in this country, I think it's important to have positive role models and people that you can look up to in all facets of life. And so that's just my way of getting back. I started motivational speaking back in 2006. I think it was, and you know, moving down to Virginia from Boston, Massachusetts, I kind of, you know, got away from it, and then the opportunity came across again, and I dove in head first. And again, it's one of those things where I give it 120% every single time.
So when we were speaking previously, we were speaking to Ethan Cross, the television champion, you know, about how he came into the industry, what brought him in, and how his journey has put him where he is at today. For you, 3 years in, I mean, what put you in pro wrestling? Because it seems that on your shoulders, you're very confident and very aware of your environment and your surroundings. So what was it that put you in a professional wrestling ring?
Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels Iron Man match is what I think I was like 4 or 5 years old when I saw it, and that moment made me fall in love with wrestling, and I wanted to do it like ever since then. But growing up, you hear so much negativity. You hear people tell you, grow up, get a real job, it's a pipe dream, it's you'll never make it, and it's this, and it's going to be this much work, and you know, you need something to fall back on. And it wasn't up until I finally decided to, as Bob Evans would say, bet on myself and try and make it work. That, I mean, you miss 100% of the shots that you never take. And when the opportunity presented itself for me to go in and get some training and, you know, see if I was actually cut out to wrestle, I jumped at it, and here we are, going on 3 years later, and it's taking me to Canada, twice wrestling. I've done some up north stuff, and here I am now with the opportunity to be the very first UCW heavyweight champion.
I mean, when you talk about just what has brought you to where you are now, I mean, one thing I know that from a fan's perspective, when I see companies looking for in a champion is someone that represents the community, someone that's willing to take the time and set a positive example and really make sure that they're putting a positive impression out there for the public. So it definitely sounds like you've got a good hold on that. Now, you mentioned you've got some familiarity with Bill Collier. And Bill Collier, again, we've said it once or twice now, I mean, he's definitely a veteran. He's definitely going to be a challenge for you. How do you strategize? How do you plan for going in the ring against a guy this experienced?
Well, Bill Collier, my familiarity with him is one half of the Hired Guns, which is an awesome tag team. But I've happened to see, him a couple times on a couple different occasions, and one thing that I always do is size up everyone I come in contact with in the event of a situation like this. So I'm definitely, on YouTube and, following like some of the Hired Gun stuff to see the stuff that he likes to do. But I think that one thing that's going to actually work in my favor is the fact that there's going to be nobody for him to tag to in minute 10, minute 15 in the match. And it's just going to have to be him. I'm not saying that he can't do it, but he's definitely, in recent days have been, used to being a tag team wrestler. And I think that that's something that I could probably use to my advantage.
Well, plus, I mean, the amount of time that you have been able to watch what he does in the ring, both in MCW and the surrounding areas that he's been active in. I mean, the Guns for Hire up at MCW, tremendous tag team, to your point. That definitely made a good impression on us the very first time we saw MCW just last year. So I can see what you're saying as far as what you're looking forward to, what his challenges are going to be, and you're absolutely correct. I mean, if he doesn't have somebody to tag out to, you've got the advantage there because you rely solely on yourself.
Well, absolutely, and again, that's no disrespect to where his stamina or his cardio is, but for the last year and a half, it's been me inside of the ring. So I know what it takes to dig down inside of minute 17, and maybe his cardio isn't as great, but that's definitely like a point that I'm definitely emphasizing. And our physique wise, I think I may have a tad bit of a power advantage as well. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about matching up power for power, I mean, when you're looking at how you prepare that way, I imagine it's a lot of heavy lifting, but at the same time, cardiovascular-wise, that's a big part of what you do on an everyday basis. So, I mean, preparing for a guy like that, my thought process is, how do you know? I mean, if it's going to go 15, 20 minutes or only 2. That's the coolest part of professional wrestling, in my opinion, is there's always that unexpected, that X factor.
Anybody can get caught with anything at any time, and it could be enough to have you looking at the lights or tapping on the canvas. So you go in and you prepare for the long haul. You prepare for a marathon if you have to, and if it happens to be a sprint, good or bad for you. The thing is, I think in my headspace now, even when I'm cardio condition training and I'm at mile number 3 on a treadmill, the biggest thing in my mind is to always keep my guard up and never take anything for granted. In the words of the great man Mike Bennett, a.k.a. Mike Kanellis, live in the moment. And that's I think that's what we're going to go with.
I mean, I think that's a good outlook to have. Hey, you brought him up, so let me just ask you, what do you think about Mike Kanellis going through what he has been past few months with challenges with addiction and overcoming that?
I have a tremendous amount of respect for Mike Kanellis. It's funny, I'm from Boston, and he trained up there, and had I decided to go the professional route earlier, I may have had an opportunity to train with him. I didn't. I had an opportunity to meet him at a seminar down here in Virginia, and he changed the way that I think about wrestling completely, in terms of living in the moment. And his addiction. We all have our demons and skeletons inside of a closet. His just happened to be that. I have a tremendous amount of respect for him for taking it head on and going to get the help that he needed, and even like on the road back to recovery. But if there's anybody that can beat this and come out with a shining example of how to beat it and a silver lining in the cloud, so to speak, it would be Mike Canella or Mike Bennett.
He's definitely got the right motivation. From what I've seen and what I've read, it sounds to me like he's got a positive influence around him. His wife's definitely very supportive of his efforts, and you can see that they've got a definite team mentality. They're working together, and they want to make sure that they're able to accomplish their goals. And just like with what you're doing, I mean, and it's not just Ultimate Championship Wrestling. You're going to be in Warsaw in October. You're going to be performing for Classic Pro Wrestling on October 7th. You've got Next Evolution Wrestling on October 14th. I mean, you stay busy. How do you juggle it all?
It's definitely a tricky, I guess, feat to juggle it all. It's just there's 168 hours in a week, but you have to live one moment at a time. So it's kind of like, okay, let's check one thing off at a time. You have to be able to compartmentalize and get laser focused on the task at hand. So the 23rd is definitely in my mind, but I wrestled last night for Vanguard Championship Wrestling. And, that was a tremendous opponent inside of Benjamin Banks. And we went out and we had a great match. But but last night I couldn't put the 23rd inside of my mind. It's just taking one thing, one step, one move, one breath at a time, and focus on executing that well. And if you focus on the moment and the second and the minute that you're in and you execute that well, then everything else long-term will fall in its place organically.
So something I did notice, and I went ahead and tried to do some research on you, learn a little bit about who we've got coming on the air. I realized that you're actually served our country. You were a member of the military.
Yes, I'm actually still a member of the military. I'm an E6 in the Navy as we speak.
Well, thank you for your continued service then.
Oh, well, thank you for the support.
No problem.
That's actually how I ended up in Virginia.
Okay.
The United States Navy brought me down, told me this is your home now. So again, that's one of those things that you take an evaluation of the situation around you, love it, hate it, or indifferent. You have to make the best of it, and that's what I'm trying to do.
How does Navy handle your booking and everything? How do they handle your professional wrestling career? Are they supportive?
Yeah. The chain of command is very supportive. Initially, in order to do it, I had to route a request up to the commanding officer to do it, and I guess he didn't realize exactly what he was signing or something. But he signed it off, and it came back okay. And as long as it doesn't affect my day-to-day duties, but it definitely comes with its challenges as well. There have been shows where I literally had to back out of because I had to travel out of country for a short period of time, or I had to be on duty and I had to do something else regarding the military. But we make it work, and thankfully those promoters were understanding, and I haven't burnt any bridges because of the United States military.
Well, I tell you what, I hope there's not a promoter on the planet that would ever disrespect you enough to give you a hard time for serving our country. So.
Sorry, I can't make the booking, but
Right.
I've got to go defend our freedom.
I'm going to go make sure you're still alive tomorrow. So, no, I'm sorry, I won't make the show.
Let's hope they don't look at that in a negative way. You know what I mean? I try to, be everywhere I can when I say I'm going to be there. And I realize also that it puts them in a, in a bad spot. And I definitely understand the business aspect of it. And when I miss a show, I feel terrible about it. But duty is duty, and that's what we have to do.
Well, I think it speaks a lot to your character, to be honest with you. I mean, you're taking your commitment, your devotion to both professional wrestling and the United States Navy very seriously, and I think more people can learn from that, especially in today's business and professional world, whether it's wrestling, the military, or just a plain whatever.
And have they not seen his picture? Are you really going to tell this man?
Are you going to stand across from this guy and tell him, I'm sorry, you need to be here?
No, Mr. Guy as big as a house. You got to be here.
I guess that same physique is what the blessing and the curse is, because a lot of times my look is what gets me in the door. It's like a lot of promotions before they even see me work or see me wrestle. My physique will at least make them entertain a conversation from me. So that's if they were counting on that for their show, that's what makes me feel bad. You put in this amount of work in the gym and this amount of hours of training, and then a week before the show, you're like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm not going to be able to make it. And that sucks. And it makes me feel bad for the position that I put the promoter in, having to scramble to find another guy to fill that slot. And but I'm thankful that all of the bookers have been fully understanding, and that's I can't say that it would have been the same maybe 15 or 20 years ago. And I think that speaks to the change in the business.
I would say that my physique usually gets me kicked out of the door.
Juggernaut, if I may, this is Eddie Lane on this side. Pleasure to make your acquaintance. There's two questions I'd like to hit you with. Number one, you said you moved from Boston down to the Virginia area?
Yes, sir.
Give me an example of the culture shock that you may have faced as far as say what now? About going from Boston down to Virginia.
Actually, let me start out by saying this. In my opinion, Boston, Massachusetts is the greatest city in the world, because there's everything there. You know what I mean? The country started there. The shot heard around the world was there. Revolutionary War. Everything started in Boston. And it's a rich tradition, and it's so much culture in Boston. I think Boston gets a bad reputation because we're all a tad bit of a-holes to put it mildly. But it's just that we have so much to do. So I guess the biggest culture shock, is a twofold answer. It'd be, number one, the people are a lot nicer in Virginia and a lot more patient. And number two would be driving. Oh, goodness.
And the second half of the question, and with what you've been through, I'm sure, in the military, and I want to echo the sentiment of Stan, Rob, and Brian. Thank you for your continuing sacrifice and dedication to our country. It is appreciated more than you know.
Oh, thank you for the support, sir.
We learn lessons, whether it be in high school, college, whether it be as part of an individual in a team sport or in a pure team sport. I'm sure there's been a few things that you've learned in the military about yourself. But when it comes to learning lessons, what has pro wrestling taught you about yourself?
Ooh, that's a first. It's the first time I faced that question. But pro wrestling has taught me that I have the ability to step outside of my comfort zone. There's a code that people tend to live by, and it's a code that, hey, I want to be respected. I want to take myself seriously. I want to be taken seriously, and I want this amount of respect, and I want to do this, and I want to do this. And then I started out that way, and the military preaches that way. You're going to march this way and look professional, and everything's so black and white. And professional wrestling has been a much needed and much appreciated gray area that I never thought that I could live in. Meaning that when something day-to-day traffic like upsets you, or your boss upsets you, or something like that, the natural reaction is to get mad, and I don't know who he thinks he's talking to. And then one day someone sat me down and was like, hey, do you realize what you do for a living? You put on spandex and oil yourself up and roll around with another man. And it kind of put everything in perspective. It's kind of like, well, if I'm doing this, and it's my desire to do this as a profession, as a livelihood, as a way to feed a family, if I'm going to do that, then nothing is serious enough to stress myself about. And professional wrestling is I guess, A, comfort zone, and B, like stress management. Like nothing in life is too serious to burn a bridge or ruin a friendship or resort to violence over it. Like it's not that serious.
One more quick one before I throw it back to the guys. The Boston thing. If you could have lifetime season passes to one of the two, which would it be? Red Sox or Celtics?
Ooh. In my current state of mind, it'd be Red Sox.
Yeah.
Because I don't agree with the recent decisions of Danny Ainge, and as long as he is the GM of the Celtics, I'm going to have a problem. So, as of right now, the Sox are definitely more exciting.
Okay. Stan, Rob, Brian?
Let's just say go Nats, and I don't watch enough NBA to really have a fight. So.
They still play baseball in DC?
Oh, come on! We just won the NL East. Come on.
I'm just saying. You know,
Play much football in DC, but
Now, wait a minute. What city was it that had the team that had the inside the park Grand Slam home run recently?
Oh, is that what we're doing?
But by the same token, the kid who hit the inside the park Grand Slam home run was also a person who gave up an inside the park Grand Slam home run.
That's a fact.
well, Eddie's down there in territory when the team's after so much. The team just built a new stadium to get people talking again.
I don't live in Atlanta. I live in Birmingham. We don't have it. Okay, if it's not Alabama, hey, look, we finally got UAB football back on track down here, so we actually have 7 in-state college teams. But
Sam Tide.
Say what?
The only team that matters in Alabama are the Crimson Tide.
I bleed Crimson Tide red, but I went to UAB, so I will also say the other half of me bleeds green and gold.
Oh, come on, the Blazers can't hold a torch to the Crimson Tide. We both know it.
It's only because the Tide has been around longer.
Yeah,
I'll buy that argument.
If you've got green and gold, you need a pill.
Hey, look, if I had red going, I've got red, green, and gold. I'm set for Christmas, dude. Leave me alone.
Hey, I will tell you this. Team all of 15 minutes to piss me off this season, so first NFL game of the
You pick Carolina.
Don't do it. Don't break the rule. We don't do NFL on corner to corner.
We do not talk NFL.
Okay, you can call in Thursday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern. 9 p.m. Central for a Shooters Gallery. We will talk NFL over there.
and can't talk.
Wait a minute.
And so far, I went perfect on my picks this weekend.
I didn't get to see any football.
I mean, let's not forget that the reigning and defending champions are from Massachusetts.
Oh no!
Along with the greatest quarterback in the world.
See, I would actually respond to that, but I can feel somebody letting the air out of my microphone as we speak.
Wow. I don't know what to say, man. I was really in your corner, Juggernaut. Now, I mean, you had to go Patriots, and I don't know what to say.
Well, I mean, I'm from there. I'd be a traitor not to.
He's right.
He'd never be able to go back home.
Now,
Talk about being deflated. Jeez.
I think we found cash in the bounty.
I think we did.
Whoa! Oh,
hey,
no!
Juggernaut.
We're not doing that. No.
Okay, wait. Wait, train back on tracks. Juggernaut. Who's your team? What would your team mascot be?
What, the Juggernauts or the Patriots?
No, your personal team, Team Juggernaut. What would the mascot be?
It has to be a bull. It has to be.
Believe it or not, I was thinking rhinoceros.
Or rhinoceros.
Charging power.
Bulls. Exactly. Say it again.
Charging power.
Either that or a bull. I mean, they both once they see red, they just go. So, a rhinoceros works as well.
Yeah, a bull can be thrown off. A bull can be thrown off by a little red cape. I haven't seen anything that can mess up a rhino yet. Unless it's
fact.
Unless it's Heath Slater.
Hey, look, that's a train. Let's get this back on track.
I just did.
He did take it right back to wrestling. He circled the
Hey,
wagons.
that man's got kids.
He needs this job.
Don't take his job.
Exactly. Man's got a family, damn it.
You know, I thought about buying one of those shirts the next time I have to go in for my evaluation at work. Like, I need this job. I got kids.
Oh, that would be epic.
Well, how do you influence your what he just said?
Your
Sure. I'm dumbfounded.
Well, in the military, you don't wear that because you have a uniform, and that would get you in more trouble.
Oh yeah, that would be a problem.
But anyway,
Yes.
hey, Juggernaut, I know Stan ran down it a little bit, but what is your upcoming schedule?
Oh goodness, I am at Classic Pro Wrestling. I'm at Next Evolution Wrestling. I'm at Nova actually the day before the UCW show. Nova Pro Wrestling. Those guys are doing great things over there. And then I'll be at UCW. I think next, and then Shockwave Entertainment down in Carolina.
Wow. Let me ask you a question. You're pretty familiar with Nova Pro. Where do you stand? Are you on the side of the 1%, or are you with the rest of us, the other 99% that can't stand the 1%?
Well, currently, I'm feuding with Bo Crockett, which is a member of the Carnies over at Nova Pro. Like he and I, we had a match, and I lost by submission. He caught me, off guard. But the 1% has a problem with the Carnies, so I'm in a situation with the 1% where the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
No.
But
Amen.
But
See, Stan has this big thing against him.
Yeah, while me and Rob are like 1.5%. We've almost been accepted, but not quite.
Oh, so you're inside the gated community. You're just not inside of the gated community. Inside of the gated community.
Yeah, we're in the middle gate, not all the way in. Yeah.
Yeah, we're at the visitor center waiting for our pass.
Yeah.
Instead of,
I mean, those things can get expensive over there. I don't necessarily agree with the 1%'s tactics. Bobby the Body Shields and Ethan Logan LaRue. But
I call him Lash. I think that's a better name for him.
What's the better name for him?
It's not funny now.
Lash LaRue.
Lash LaRue.
Yeah, he's the old WCW guy. That's about all I think of that guy.
Put on bump.
Yeah, it didn't go over.
Hey, I have a tremendous amount of respect for that guy. He just won the O2J Championship not too long ago. The PWI O2J Championship.
Sharon, doing it.
Yeah, we were in the front row.
Bolted me out of my chair.
You got to look out, and you never know what's going to happen anytime Chet Sterling's in the building. He's different,
That he is. He is definitely different. So, okay, as Rob said, we're going to try to put this train back on the track somehow. Nova Pro, 22nd. Who are you facing?
I am not sure yet, but I can assure you I'm going to punch him in the mouth, whoever it is. I'm not sure as of yet. I'm not sure. I know there's been some match announcements I've been following on Twitter, but my match hasn't come across yet. So, as I said, one step, one day at a time. I've got a couple of hurdles to go through before I get to Nova, and we're going to focus on those. And once they let me know who I'm facing, we'll start the studying process on them and try and come out with a victory as well.
And then, of course, you've got Bill Collier on the 23rd for the UCW World Championship. I got to tell you, as familiar as we are with Mr. Collier, I think the corner-to-corner crew here is leaning the direction of the Juggernaut.
That's a safe bet. I'd certainly bet on myself. I'd be a fool to tell you anything different. Bill Collier is going to be a challenge. It's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a hard hitting match. and hopefully, we can come out with the victory. Bill Collier, like I said, I can't say enough good things about him. He's the guy's an animal. He's not in too savage shape himself, and he's strength and he likes to hit hard. But I'm strong and I like to hit hard as well. And so we're gonna see what happens when a bull meets a rhinoceros, I suppose.
Well, there you go. We get to see who's going to be the man on top and who's just sitting on the sideline at the end of the night. September 23rd, the Michael and Son Sportsplex.
Michael and Son.
Thank you, Bob. So, Juggernaut, where can folks find you on social media, Twitter, and the like?
You can find me on my website, Dejuan, DEJUAN1.com. I'm on Instagram at Dejuan O'Neal 1. Facebook fan page is DTHE all capital Juggernaut. YouTube channel second to none Dejuan O'Neal, but Dejuan1.com has buttons and links to every other social media platform that I have.
Well, Juggernaut, I got to tell you, we're excited to see you on the 23rd. Who knows? We may even
see you on the 22nd
because
yes.
we are looking towards Nova Pro as well as UCW. We're fans of both. So you never know. We might actually be in attendance at both.
Both are phenomenal promotions, and there's definitely a step in the right direction to put Virginia wrestling back where it's supposed to be, on top.
Absolutely, that's the biggest excitement for us, is to see wrestling in Virginia. I mean, Ultimate Championship Wrestling has personal ties to us. We have a lot of love for them, but Nova Pro is what got us back into the indie ranks, man. We went out there and saw MCW. We saw Nova Pro. I mean, we're trying to get ourselves reacquainted with the world of wrestling outside of that mainstream machine, and so we're looking forward to it. Thanks again for joining us, and we will definitely catch up with you on the 23rd and maybe even the 27th.
Hey, I got a question for you before you leave.
Yes, sir.
If you're in the Navy, so you're probably down in the Hampton Roads area, correct?
Yes, sir.
Best seafood restaurant in the Hampton Roads. Go.
Cuddy Shark.
Cuddy Shark. Okay. I'll be coming down to the Hampton Roads not too distant future, so I'm going to hit up some good restaurant.
They also have McCormick and Smick over in Virginia Beach. It's a tie, but Cuddy Shark is your typical mom and pop, fresh from the seafood.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you guys for having me so much.
Hey, thank you again for joining us. Folks, don't forget to check out DEJUAN1.com for the Juggernaut, and we will see him live at UCW Defiance, World Championship matchup between he and Bill Collier. Juggernaut, thanks again for joining us. You have a great rest of your night, sir.
Thank you guys for having me. Jugger Nation out.
There you have it. Could be soon to be UCW World Champion. We will find out on the 23rd. We're just about to head to the, as Eddie puts it, the Radio Ranch.
Actually, I'm going to go ahead and make an exception since we had a problem with the servers a little bit earlier. If you want to take a brief commercial break, we can come back in and do a proper wrap-up.
Sounds good to me. Let's go ahead and take our final break of the evening, folks. We will be right back. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Corner to Corner Wrestling Radio. We just got sniped right there at the beginning. I can't believe you did that. Set us up for failure right away. Don't say that mess. Hopefully everybody enjoyed the conversations we had with the UCW television champion Ethan Cross and possibly UCW's next World Heavyweight Champion Juggernaut. We are going to be live September 23rd at the Michael and Sons Sportsplex in Sterling, Virginia, 7:30 p.m. bell time for UCW Defiance. They'll be doing their first set of television tapings. It's going to be an exciting night of wrestling action. If you are within the sound of our voice here on the East Coast, whether it's Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, even all the way down to Florida, all the way up to New Jersey, hey, hop in the car, buy some tickets, go on down to Michael & Son Sportsplex for UCW Defiance. Their very first television taping. It's going to be an exciting night. Gentlemen, before we dive into just kind of wrapping up for the week, thoughts on our conversations with Ethan Cross and Juggernaut.
I thought it was great. I thought it was great to get people on here, especially those that are working and, they're trying to they still have a passion is what I'm trying to say, I guess. They have the love for the business. They've gone I can't talk tonight. They haven't gone the conventional way.
Right.
I mean, one started late in life, the other one's in the military. They didn't start the, I'm going to go and, beg Shawn Michaels to let me carry his bag type thing. So my hat's off to them for their continued dedication. Mm-hmm. My hat's off to Ethan Cross for his life change and his commitment to making the life change. And my hat's off to Juggernaut, who has a successful wrestling career and a successful military career.
Absolutely. Ryan, your thoughts?
It was great. I'm looking forward to the Juggernaut. Mm-hmm. After seeing the picture, that's a big guy.
Yeah, and he's looking forward to punching somebody in the face.
Yes. So the battle of the big guys should be spectacular. I picked up on Ethan Cross after at Orange. We got to watch him win the U.S. title.
TV title.
Or TV title, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I'm going to
It's late. It's late. Yep. It's late. I will say that when we walked into the hangar in Orange, I did notice him without realizing it. He has a distinctive look, very good look. Mm-hmm. He's a very muscular guy, even for his size. So I never would have thought he was 44. So it's just interesting talking to them, finding out their life outside the ring.
Yeah, I think one of the things I took away from talking to both guys, whether it was Juggernaut or Ethan Cross, was how laid back they were, how approachable they both come off. But you're absolutely right. I mean, for Ethan Cross, he was impressive not just with his story and the journey he's been on so far, but what he's had to battle and what he's had to face just coming up through that. And then Juggernaut, again, potentially the next UCW World Champion, the first UCW World Champion. Serving our country at the same time as holding down a wrestling career, which is awesome. So, looking forward to the 23rd. Going to have to sit down and talk with these gentlemen before and possibly after their matchups, get their thoughts and opinions on where they stand at that moment. So, we've got a couple things we want to talk about here as we get ready to close this out the right way. Guys, as we head into this week, September 12th, Tuesday night, is the finals of the Mae Young Classic. We've got Kairi Sane facing Shayna Baszler. Definitely a contrast of styles, but an exciting road for each lady. We'll go around the horn here and give our thoughts as to who we predict and how we feel about it. Brian, let's go ahead and start off with you. What are your thoughts on heading into the finals for the Mae Young Classic on Tuesday?
Well, the question for me, have they said what time? Is it during SmackDown or after SmackDown?
It's broadcasting live from Las Vegas, and if I read it correctly, it is 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern, so right after SmackDown.
So there could be an actual special. Mm-hmm. Maybe we'll get some other matches. Right. I'm going with Kairi Sane. Again, I picked up on her earlier this year, mm-hmm. and just absolutely fell in love with that elbow drop.
Yeah,
it is the craziest thing in the world to see performed.
The elevation she gets from that is ridiculous. It is such a short distance.
Yes.
Like so close to the corner. When she hit it with on Tessa Blanchard that first round, I mean, she was she could have hit the rafters. I mean, she was jumping super high.
Mm-hmm. And then I wasn't expecting Baszler to get there.
Mm-hmm.
I figured Martinez
that
probably would
me
have been
also.
in there.
Yeah.
Although it will be interesting with the matchup, the conflicting styles. So that'll be interesting to see how that unfolds.
Mm-hmm.
With that, what do you call it, rear naked choke or whatever
Oh, yeah.
Baszler does.
Hey, how about the way she hit that on Candice LeRae? From the top rope to a seated position, slaps the choke on. That was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about Randy Orton hitting the RKO from anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen her hit it from a suplex,
Uh-huh.
from the top rope.
Yep.
Um,
Could you imagine if Taz had ever did that Taz mission from the top rope? He'd have killed people.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I mean, it's crazy to watch her,
Yeah.
and you never know when it's coming. I'm still going with Kyrie, though,
Mm-hmm.
as far as who I want to see win.
Yeah. So, Rob, heading into Tuesday, your thoughts on the finals of the Mae Young Classic?
Baszler.
Baszler. Okay. What brings you to Baszler?
Her style.
Mm-hmm.
And I just like the way she looks in the ring. And
I mean, I don't mind the way she looks either. I'm just saying.
I just see her as more of a down the road, prospect.
Now, before we went on the air, you mentioned something about that. You said that you have a feeling that there's more behind the scenes when it comes to Baszler being in the position she's in.
Right. I think the payoff for WWE is better because I think what I was saying earlier was I think Ronda Rousey is using Baszler, part of her group.
Right.
She's the one to test the waters, to give the inside story, to see the backside of WWE before Ronda Rousey puts her name in the hat.
Right.
You know,
right.
it's different if Baszler is on it and doesn't like it and doesn't move forward. But if they put Ronda Rousey in this and then never mind, so it's just a business decision.
And I think it's a smart decision. I think with Ronda Rousey, you know what you're getting as far as crowd appeal, hype. But what she can do in the ring remains to be seen. We know what she can do in the octagon, but it's a completely different story what happens in the 16x16, 20x20, depending on where you're at. I think with the finals of the Mae Young Classic, to me, WWE is focusing on Kairi Sane. It seems like they're grooming her to be the heir apparent for Asuka. So I'm going to stick with Kairi Sane for the winner. But Shayna Baszler has been very, very impressive this tournament. Being able to slap on the rear naked choke from the top rope is just one of many things that she's done this tournament to really stand out. Staying true to her style, being willing to mix it up with Mercedes Martinez, being able to go toe-to-toe with Candice LeRae. Two very seasoned veterans of the industry, and choked out in short form. It wouldn't necessarily be a huge shock to me to see Baszler win, but I'm going with my gut. I think Kairi Sane is the our next winner. I think she's going to be the winner of the first ever Mae Young Classic. Now, as we head to next week, we've got, is it No Mercy this coming Sunday, the 17th? I believe. I Can Fly? Nope, that's not it.
No.
I'm sorry. Well, with No Mercy coming up, it's either this coming Sunday or the following. That's going to be a busy weekend. Wow. Nova Pro, UCW, and then possibly No Mercy on that Sunday. Jeez, we're going to be crazy busy that weekend. That's going to be really something. So let's kind of get one thought before we head on out. WWE Championship matchup. Shinsuke Nakamura or Jinder Mahal. is apparent, but No Mercy coming up is actually a Raw pay-per-view. Goodness, I almost botched that. Braun Strowman or Brock Lesnar? Rob.
Braun.
Braun Strowman. Brian?
Braun.
Braun!
Yeah, Braun.
Well, I have to agree. So that's a full agreement from the Corner to Corner Crew Universal title. We're thinking Braun Strowman might be the guy at No Mercy. We're, of course, we'll run down more for predictions as we have time. For the guys, we will be joining you next Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, but you can catch up to us on the Twitter. Brian can be found at STRCP21 on the Twitter machine. Rob, where do they find you?
At Rob Hefner, C2C on the Twitter,
Mm-hmm.
Rob Hefner on Facebook, Cover Original, and RDHUWP on the Instagram.
That's right, and you can find Corner to Corner
And
on
Pinterest, but I'd never get on that.
Do people still use Pinterest?
Yeah.
It hasn't gone the way
Yeah.
yet. Oh, yeah.
Dummy.
Yeah.
And as Francisco Chiazzo used to say many, many moons ago, the first time he came on, he thought he was the only straight male on Pinterest.
Oh. Well then, looks like it's not just Francisco Chiazzo anymore. It's he and Rob.
By the way,
Hey.
Can we throw this out real quick?
I don't know, can we?
Confirmed wrestler for the next 2K, WWE 2K18? Tatsumi Fujinami.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you, gentlemen, before we head for the ranch, I'm going to ask you this question, and I'm going to go ahead and preface it with: do you walk through the door or do you shut the door? Shayna Baszler winning the Mae Young Classic is your setup for the 4 horsewomen of MMA versus the 4 horsewomen of wrestling. Stan, walk through or slam it?
Oh, run through. March right through the door if it hasn't opened yet, because that's going to be an awesome matchup.
Yeah, we discussed this last week, not on the air, but we were going back and forth a little bit. That there's a picture of 3 Charlotte, Bailey, and Becky,
Yeah.
and then Rousey and the other 2 backstage, kind of squaring off. And we think that's what it'll be. It'll be a big 8-woman tag match or something.
Survivor Series or something.
Oh, I think it'll be WrestleMania.
Okay, I'm going to shift the question. Walk through or slam the door? Baszler winning to set this up only cheapens the Mae Young Classic victory. Walk through or slam it?
I don't think so.
I'll take that was Brian. Rob?
Yeah. Cheapen or?
I don't think so.
Knowing that they're going to use it, but does that bother you, the fact that they would simply do the Mae Young Classic victory for Baszler just to set up this?
On the outside looking in, it'd be the reason to do it. So I say it's slamming.
Yeah, and the other thing,
you'd walk through.
Yeah, the other thing for me is if Asuka hadn't have gotten hurt, and they were still going to make her win and give her an opportunity versus Asuka, and have her take it from Asuka, you know, who knows what their plans are? I don't think it really cheapens anything for me.
In my book, I hate to do it like this, and I'm getting that echo again.
Sorry about that.
It would make more sense for Kairi Sane to go over. That way, the horsewoman versus horsewoman setup doesn't pivot around the Mae Young in a setup way. You could actually make it look like, yeah, you got on my nerves, you cost me the Mae Young, we're going to have it out now. To go over, that means that the brand new MMA girl turned wrestler gets to rub it in the face of established wrestlers that she won the almighty Mae Young Classic. I think Kairi Sane would be the more logical choice to go over. And I'm going to come up with a different methodology for asking that question rather than walk through or slam it. I lost you guys.
You there?
Barely.
Hello?
There you are.
I mean, how many times has WWE done exactly what you say? They bring somebody in and then oh wow, boom, we're going to give you something just because it's best for business. I mean, there again, we saw a pipe bomb interview on Raw where it made, Stan's boy look like a lumbering idiot.
Yeah, Cena does that to himself quite often.
Oh, well, I mean, he destroyed Roman Reigns in that whole setup. That was whoever thought it was a good idea to make Roman try to seem like he could shoot was not thinking, because it definitely didn't help. As far as to your point a little bit more directly, I think with Baszler coming out, as the Mae Young Classic winner, it's not a bad thing either way if it gets the Four Horsewomen feud going. I think that's marketable and can make money, but at the same time, I also think it kind of doesn't matter who the winner is as long as we're seeing multiple signings from this tournament. My understanding is that Abby Laith, Sarah Logan, and, Kairi Sane we knew about already, but that's 3 out of this tournament that have already been signed. So if we can continue to see that growth in the women's division, the Mae Young Classic has already helped. So if Baszler wins, if Kyrie wins, I think we still win overall as fans.
Well, to me, they should hire probably over half, the people they brought in.
Right.
They can't afford it.
What's that?
They can't afford it right now.
Well, I mean, I think money-wise, I think they can afford to grow that division with this tournament. They just have to be smart about who they put on TV and when.
Well, I mean, like Rachel.
Mm-hmm.
You could probably get her now at a premium price, as opposed to waiting another year,
right?
Letting her, her grow in the independence.
Mm-hmm.
Then it may be an issue. To me, Tessa, as much as I'd love to see her, may be in that bracket they don't want to pay for.
Mm-hmm.
But Rachel, some of these other ones, your girl Piper.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you don't sign Piper Niven now, you're definitely losing out. Because if she goes to Global Force, if she goes to Ring of Honor, if she goes to New Japan, wherever she goes, her star's only going to get bigger.
Right.
So you've got an opportunity here to sign somebody fresh that you can mold and do what you want. You already know that she's athletic. You already know that she's fast. You know you can't blow her up, which is amazing to me. And you need that because she's a legitimate big person threat. She could go toe-to-toe with Nia Jax, and it would work.
Yeah, I mean, for her, you've now made her global.
Right, in a very short amount of time.
In a very short amount of time, right.
And a force.
Mm.
And may the force be with you, always.
You made her a global force.
Dun, dun, dun. All right, so we're going to go ahead and take it on out of here. We will see you next week on C2C Radio. You can catch up with us on the Twitter at C2C Radio Show, Corner to Corner Show on Facebook, corner-to-corner-wrestling.com, and corner-to-corner-radio@gmail.com for all comments, gripes, complaints, or bitches. And, of course, you can catch up. No, you can say that. It's okay. And you can catch up with me on Facebook at Stan Grubb, Stan from Krypton on Twitter, and, of course, Corner to Corner's on Instagram, Corner, the number 2, then
standing on the corner.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that.
Well, I'm just saying, if you haven't seen the movie yet, get your ish right.
There he goes.
Wow. Well,
that's the one you can't say, Rob.
If you weren't sure.
I didn't say it.
Eddie, thanks again for your assistance this evening. You were the best.
That was Captain Potty Mouth.
I know, but you were razzing Stan about saying the word bitch, and then Ding Dong turns around and says the fecal reference.
I mean,
you had just done so remarkably well, and then it's like you got the 9-year-old at the table going, "I didn't eat any jelly beans. I didn't eat any jelly beans, but I ate the whole damn box of Captain Crunch."
Well,
He doesn't like Captain Crunch.
Yeah, I know he likes.
I didn't go over duty earlier.
He likes Fruit Loops. That way, it turns his poop green, right, Maybo?
Oh, come on. Nobody needs a Mabo reference. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you next week. Hey, thanks again for listening. Be sure to tell your friends, family, and their friends. Stick with us because we will see you next week at Corner to Corner.
And next week, we'll tell them what we're doing the 23rd.
Week? Can we tell them next week?
Well, what's next week?
It's the 17th.
Yes.
Okay, you know what? You heard it here first. Next week, we have an official announcement.
Official. Big.
Then we'll do the closing credits like this. For Stan.
Big freaking news. Can't wait.
For Brian.
It rocks.
For Rob.
It's news of the century. Oh my God, what is that? We've got to go.
He's got to go.
He's got to go.
I can't say it. I just can't say
in
it.
his
I can't
pants.
say it. This is your studio announcer saying good night.
Good night.